Hi, my name is Tiffany Scott, and I am doing my persuasive speech on how dance is a true sport. So, for all you big sports fans, I am here to tell you about how dance is actually a true sport. You can look at the facts because it actually is a true sport. So, a lot of dancers are told dance is not a sport, but I am going to talk about how and why dance is a sport. Dancers work way too hard for dance for it not to be called a sport. Throughout my life, all these jocks have been telling me dance isn't a sport, football is more important, and all these physical trainers don't even help us with our injuries because they think football is more important. I'm so fed up with people telling me that dance is not a sport because it actually is. We work 10 times harder than most sports do. And I would love to see jocks come into a dance class because they wouldn't be able to survive it. Dance is 100% a sport. First, I'm going to talk about what makes a sport. And then second, I'm going to talk about about how dancers work harder than most other sports. And then third, I'm going to talk about and discuss why dance is a sport. So according to dictionary.com, a sport is an activity involving physical exertion and a skill in which an individual or a team competes against another or others for entertainment. So, as a competitive dancer, I compete against others in other dance studios, so there's another form of why dance is a sport. So many people only think that a sport contains physical contact, and jocks will agree with that and say that dance does not have physical contact with one another. But I beg to differ. Dancers do lifts, especially my dance studio. I grew up lifting people their own body weight. We drop people on their heads, and we get other injuries from doing lifts. So this is why that's why a sport is a sport. So dancers work just as hard as other sports. So we work just as hard as basketball, baseball, football, soccer, track, and anything else. Dancers have to have extreme stamina and have to have certain muscles that most people do not. Us dancers control our bodies like no one else can. We require more discipline and more strength than most sports, in my opinion. So dancers they use their stamina, their cardio, instead of doing weights like football players do. We don't focus on that because we have to have flexibility and be able to move around and contort our bodies like other people don't. So, also with being a dancer comes being judged for your looks. Football players don't get judged by their look. They might get judged for how they play, but we get judged about our looks. We get judged about how we dance, and that leads to eating disorders, which makes it hard for a dancer. We think that it makes it easier to dance with a light weight, and it makes us look more skinny, so judges are like, oh my goodness, this girl is skinny and more flexible than the bigger people on stage. So they will automatically judge that and give us a better score if we're tiny and more flexible than the other people. So now I'm going to talk about why dance is a sport. There are 6 main reasons why dance is a sport. Dancers compete at competitions against others. Number 2, we require sacrifice. Number 3, dancers need to build and have stamina, speed, flexibility, and muscles that some people don't have. Number 4, dancers need patience and But number 5, Dancers get scores, just like football does, and any other sport. Number 6, dancers require a level of discipline and strength. Us dancers have the ability to move our bodies in different ways that other people cannot. So we contort our bodies into different ways that other people cannot. We can kick our face. I bet you a football player cannot do that. We strain and tear muscles in our bodies that no one else has. A football player might tear their ACL, but us, we tear little small muscles that make it hard for us to move our bodies. So this is why we need trainers to help rub out and give us therapy to help with us straining those muscles instead of pushing us to the side and caring about more football players and baseball players in the training room. We are looked at not even a sport, and it gets really frustrating when we try to go in there and they don't even acknowledge us in the training rooms. Dancers work about 10 times harder than most sports, and I am sick of people calling it not a sport. Dance is 100% a sport, and I don't care what other people have to say. Just because dancers do not require physical contact does not mean we're not a sport, because we definitely have all aspects of what a sport is. For all you sports jocks, please look up the facts before you come running to me and saying that dance is not a sport or that dancers are not athletic. Thank you.